religious experience is one of the important aspects of Iqbal's poetry, and I would say that I would read him close to poets like W.B. Yeats or T.S. Eliot or Rilke, for whom a religious essence was part of their poetic experience. But I would be very, very cautious if somebody were to say to me, religion is one of the great themes of Iqbal. I would immediately stop dead in my tracks and say, themes? Oh dear, yes, Iqbal does have themes, but I like him in spite of his themes. I like him for his poetry, not for his themes, because sometimes great themes or great thoughts lead to the worst poetry in the world. And Iqbal is important not because of his themes, but because of his poetry.
I believe that he was secular in his understanding of the world, and I don't actually buy the dream for a separate homeland for Indian Muslims was actually Iqbal's purely Iqbal's idea. I think what he wanted was minority rights should be secured in any state, and he asked in his 1930 address for independent, autonomous rather, provincial autonomy, not independent, but provincial autonomy for Muslim majority provinces in the northwest of India. And he didn't speak about East Bengal, which was of course a Muslim majority area. He just gave an idea that wherever Muslims are in majority, and they should feel and consider themselves secure in the Indian Union, whether it be ruled by British or an Indian Union which becomes an independent free India, they should have their autonomy. And that was the whole idea that led to the creation of Pakistan for a host of other factors, but Iqbal had passed away in 1938.
Iqbal's idea, like all other Sufi masters' idea, was that because Islam is the final religion, therefore Islam can always give more rights to other religions than any other ideology can. An Islamic state should be giving more rights and a more firm basis of equality to non-Muslims than secularism can.
These are later constructions, such terms as secular poetry, and Iqbal was deeply embedded in his religion and his religious tradition, and the poetry that stemmed from that particular religion. I mean, you cannot visualize Iqbal unless you think of, on one hand, the interesting thing about Iqbal is that he's a child of many civilizations and many influences.
I think Iqbal is essentially not a philosopher, he's a poet.
Let me sort of signpost a couple of critics, like I just mentioned Salim Ahmed, and Salim Ahmed would say that it is the poet Iqbal who's more important than his abstract thoughts, which his poetry could be reduced to.
Every significant, important, serious poet, which Iqbal of course was, you have to have some philosophy about life. You have a thinking, you have an understanding of what this universe is and where is a human being positioned, placed in that universe. So he has a thinking. I mean, he has of course a philosophy behind it.
And recently there is a very interesting work by Shamsur Rahman Farrukhi, which has been published from Karachi and Lahore in English as well as in Urdu. And I think that Shamsur Rahman Farrukhi, who's to my mind one of the most important Urdu critics, has really come up with a very interesting interpretation of Iqbal, in which he again emphasizes the poet Iqbal and not so much the philosopher among poets or the poet among philosophers.
But you can't compare him with modern philosophers per se, or even classical philosophers.
I think we can discover the poetry. If we discover and read the poetry, then philosophy, thought, tradition, all of those things come to us via Iqbal's poetry.
Iqbal is not understood, Iqbal is not explored enough in Pakistan, and that is something quite tragic about Pakistani society, because everything that is good about our civilization is being challenged by forces, either those liberals who are totally illiterate or the forces of obscurantism and darkness.
Iqbal is one of those rare poets where it is thought which comes alive as feeling. And if the most beautiful expression of that is nowhere else but in Masjid-e-Qartaba. And if you remember the beautiful opening line, Silsila-e Roz o Shab Naqsh Kare Hadisat, this phrasing, this powerful language in which you see an abstract thought which is really becoming part of your feeling. So that mastery, that ability to bring about these seemingly conflicting forces, that is one of the magical powers of Iqbal.